Ethan woke with a gasp. His heart hammered against his ribs. Sweat clung to his skin. The nightmare, a familiar beast, clawed at the edges of his mind. He sat up, the room swaying slightly. He reached for the orange bottle on his nightstand. He swallowed 2 pills, the familiar bitterness catching in his throat. His hand trembled as he placed the bottle back down. The darkness remained, a suffocating presence in the room. He closed his eyes, willing the pills to work to pull him back from the brink. Minutes passed, each one an eternity. The edges of the darkness began to soften, the shadows losing their sharp edges. He opened his eyes, the room coming into focus slowly. Exhaustion, a constant companion, settled over him. He wanted to go back to sleep, to escape, but he knew he couldn't. He had to face the day. The pills dulled the sharp edges of his thoughts, but they couldn't erase them entirely. They hung over him like a thick fog, obscuring his vision, making it hard to focus. He moved through his morning routine mechanically, each action requiring conscious effort. He poured a cup of coffee, the smell barely registering. He ate a piece of toast, the taste bland and unappetizing. He tried to focus on the news, but the words swam before his eyes. The fog of medication was both a blessing and a curse. It offered some relief, but at a cost. He felt disconnected from everything, his emotions muted, his senses dulled. Conversations felt strained, his responses slow and hesitant. He knew his friends and colleagues noticed, but he couldn't bring himself to explain. How could he put into words the unseen battle raging within him? He went through the motions of his day, the familiar routine, a comfort in the storm of his mind. Work provided a welcome distraction, the demands of his job forcing him to focus on something outside of himself. But even there, the shadows lingered. They whispered doubts in his ear, amplified his every insecurity, magnified every mistake. He fought to keep them at bay, to project an image of normalcy. But the effort was exhausting, chipping away at his already fragile composure. He longed for a moment of peace, a reprieve from the constant internal struggle. But the thoughts were always there, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for a moment of weakness to surge forward. He felt like a puppet, his strings being pulled by an unseen force, his every move dictated by the whims of his own mind. Section 4. The Breaking Point. The breaking point came unexpectedly, on a day that had started like any other. He was in a meeting, the air thick with the smell of stale coffee and nervous anticipation. The presentation wasn't going well. He could feel the eyes of his colleagues on him, their gazes heavy with judgment. Suddenly, the room began to spin. The whispers in his head grew louder, transforming into a deafening roar. He tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. He felt a wave of nausea, cold sweat prickling at his skin. He stumbled back from the table, his vision blurring at the edges. He barely made it out of the room before he broke down, the weight of his unseen battle finally crushing him. He sank to the floor, his back against the cool wall, his chest heaving. Tears streamed down his face, hot and heavy. He felt utterly broken, lost in the labyrinth of his own mind. Section 5. A Glimmer of Hope. He didn't know how long he sat there, lost in his despair, but slowly, gradually, the world began to seep back in. The sound of his own ragged breathing, the distant hum of the office, the feel of the cold floor against his skin. And then, a voice, soft, concerned. His wife. She was there, kneeling beside him, her hand on his arm, her eyes filled with a love that pierced through the darkness. He looked at her, really looked at her, and something shifted within him. The love he felt for her, for their children, it was a lifeline, a beacon of light in the suffocating darkness. He clung to that love, drew strength from it. He wasn't alone. He had people who cared, people who loved him, people who saw beyond the darkness that threatened to consume him. He wasn't defined by the thoughts that haunted him. He was loved, he was needed, and he would keep fighting. Section 6. Choosing to fight. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, he knew that. There would be good days and bad days, moments of hope and moments of despair, but he had found a reason to fight, a reason to keep going. His love for his family, their unwavering support, it fueled his determination. He would continue to seek help, to find ways to manage the darkness within. He wouldn't let it define him, control him, or steal away his life. He would fight for every moment of joy, every shared laugh, every embrace. He would choose to live, to love, to hope. The battle wasn't over, but he was no longer fighting it alone. And in that realization, he found a glimmer of hope, a flicker of light in the unseen shadows. He would keep walking one step at a time towards the light.